Joining us now, Fox News contributor, former FBI special agent Nicole Parker. Just horrific day. Nicole, I know that you have talked to people who were on scene when this happened. What do you know so far, but also what are next steps? We're waiting to hear from law enforcement at a press conference, multiple law enforcement agencies, but particularly for the FBI. What are next steps?
Right. So first of all, I have to say, God bless Charlie Kirk. He is a hero. He is a patriot. I have so much respect for him. And I agree with you, Dagan. He is in a beautiful place, looking down on his family and loved ones. And one thing that I do know is that this shooter must be found quickly and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I do know individuals who are on the ground right now in Utah who are, it's an all hands on deck. This is local, state, and federal assets are being sent and centralized in Orem, Utah, right near Brigham Young University, where I actually attended school. I'm very familiar with this area. My niece actually wanted to attend this event with Charlie Kirk, and my sister and brother-in-law said, you know, we just don't feel like it's safe. There's so many crazies out there, and she did not attend. But I did speak to a friend's son who was there, and his recollection of it, he's very, very startled by this, but he saw the whole thing up close and personal. This should never happen in America. So what's happening right now is law enforcement, there is a killer on the loose. And I guarantee that someone watching your program or many of the other programs that are being aired across the news stations right now, someone knows the killer. And being an FBI agent, I can tell you that the strongest amount of intelligence that we appreciate is human intelligence. Someone knows this shooter and they need to contact law enforcement immediately and they need to turn them in. And I will tell you that you should call 800-CALL-FBI for any tips. Any and all tips should be forwarded to law enforcement. Start with the FBI. I sure hope and believe that this will be charged on the federal level. It should be charged as domestic terrorism in addition to many other charges, including a homicide. This is clearly an act of violence due to political ideologies, and that is the definition of domestic violence, carrying out a violent act by an individual or group because of, politics, race, religion, whatever it might be. This is unacceptable in America. This person must be found, and there is a viewer out there who knows the shooter and the killer, and they need to turn them in.
Nicole, walk us through what the next steps will be, because there was some reporting when this first happened that a suspect was in custody, but that is not the case. The shooter is on the loose right now. You talk about somebody knowing the person. Even people who are at the event in this age of iPhones and video might have evidence that they don't realize is evidence or crucial to the investigation. How does law enforcement go about trying to piece together what happened? And do we have to worry in a situation like this that as time goes on, it becomes more difficult to get the suspect?
Okay, those are all very excellent questions. And yes, we are in a modern day technology age where everyone has an iPhone. Law enforcement views that as evidence. I guarantee you that they are gathering those that were witnesses, which in this case, there were literally hundreds of witnesses. Those that were immediately impacted, some of them probably ran for their lives, just like my friend's son. He literally hit the ground and then he got up and ran out of there as quickly as possible. Law enforcement will begin to identify who those witnesses are. And what they do is all of those that have any sort of video, any sort of footage, they will literally image the phone and they will take that evidence, they will piece it together, and they will do as much as they can. But they're conducting interviews right now of all of the witnesses, gathering who the witnesses are. And I understand that there was very limited law enforcement there. This individual that I know that attended said that there was no security. They didn't go through any sort of security. They didn't really even see a lot of law enforcement present at the actual site. But this is where everyone, all hands on deck. It's hard, and you're right, with the amount of time that goes on, the more amount of time that goes on, it is going to be more difficult, but it is right now vigilance. And like I said, the way that we typically solve these cases is that someone knows the shooter and they turn them in. They will look at any video surveillance cameras that they can from the area. The person that I know that was a witness to it believes that the shooter was probably 200 yards away or, not close. They believe that they likely used a rifle because there was a one shot. It went straight to his throat and his neck area. This was a very precise shot. This is someone who clearly has expertise with working weapons, with working rifles, long guns, and this person was on a mission. There is no doubt in my mind that this had been planned for a tremendous amount of time. And so again, we're going to be piecing all the things together, looking at social media, who knows who, and the tip lines. I guarantee you there are people that are calling in tips. That is what law enforcement needs. But you're right. The sooner we find them, the better. But those in Utah, be vigilant. Those in the area of Orem, Provo, Utah County, this assassin could be in your backyard. You don't know. And so it's important for all those in the surrounding area to be very vigilant, be aware. If you see something, say something. No tip is too small. Let law enforcement do it. Piece the things together, and we need to find this killer.
And if you have video footage, make sure it gets in the hands of law enforcement as well, because again, if anyone saw anything, you mentioned the distance of the murderer, the assassin from Charlie Kirk, if a shooter with a rifle was close, people would theoretically have seen the gun and maybe been pointing at the gun, but you never know what they could pick up on the video recordings. Nicole Parker, thank you so much.
Right, but the distance, right.
Go ahead.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
You. Well, I was just going to say the distance of where the shooter was, even from where the round came, law enforcement is going to re-instruct the crime scene. Yeah. They're going to reconstruct it. They're going to see what they can do, and they're going to piece together video surveillance of what was happening in that area where the round came from.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you.